All right, we're gonna try it again. See if anybody will jump on here. Hey, all right, there we go. So a lot of people had sort of an issue. There he is, Richell. Richell has made it. Yeah. So a lot of people had an issue with the announcing. It was a lot of screaming. The last comment I read before everything sort of frazzed out was that I felt like I was being the person. I can't remember who wrote it now. The person said they felt like they were being yelled at the entire time they were watching that deal. So first off, let me know is the feed better now? Has the internet fixed itself? Not sure what's going on. Uh, but yeah, definitely a big criticism of NBC announcing is they constantly feel like they're being yelled at. Five by five now. All right. So yeah, definitely you feel like you're being yelled at every time you watch the NBC broadcast. There's no doubt about that. Uh, definitely just a different type of doing it. So let's see. Chase Elliott, Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch definitely have to be your favorite here. Did you see the YouTube videos about the blind NASCAR fan? Said Connor Brown. Yeah, that was a great series, by the way. And the fact that they actually picked it up on NBC and talked about it in the coverage of the race was really cool as well. That was actually a good moment for Jeff Burton, right? So he was that was a good moment for him. Just makes him like more of a person and less of a caricature that is just hating on Ross all the time. So I like little additions to the broadcast like that, and I think they should do more of them. That's where I think Rutledge would be better served doing things like that when he goes around and talking about the city and this is what you can see in the city. I think that everybody that situations and stories like that would be better served. Like he could go into the city and talk about cool stories like that, and that was definitely just a cool deal all the way around. Actually, if you follow Kyle Busch on Instagram or I guess any of his social media, he had a very elderly lady. I don't know if she'd ever been to a race before, but he got her out to a race. So he had a really cool story too. I watched that last week after the race actually, and I was like, "Oh man, that's really cool. I wish I'd known about it before the race." So I think there's a lot of potential there for NBC and Fox to look at some of these social media stories that are going on and then incorporate them into the broadcast, get more exposure, more coverage for them. And I think it would make the broadcast a nicer experience. It would reach a lot more people. So I think that would be really cool. Um, Connor Brown said NASCAR's for everybody. Yeah, for sure. That's really cool. It was a really cool story. I need more human interest stories like that. Said Mark Marnham. Yeah, that's exactly the best way to put it. I wish I had put it that way to begin with. Not only that, but I think you need more stories from about the drivers. Not only human interest stories about fans and stuff like that, but if you go through this field of drivers, like you don't see hardly any drivers in commercials anymore during the race. It's just a regular corporate commercial. Uh, I've got a Hall's cough drop in, so if I'm talking weirder than normal, that's why. Um, but I think we need to focus on getting to know the drivers as well. That's another issue I've had with some of the race coverage. Not everybody is going to watch the pre-race, right? So all these driver interest stories and all these personal interest stories work them into the broadcast itself. So you sort of get to learn the personality of a driver. You sort of learn about these special interest fans or these fans with these special interest personal stories or whatever. So human interest. I don't know why I keep saying special interest. Uh, Human interest stories. You get to see them as well. I think they sort of round out the broadcast, and then you would also have some tech stuff in your broadcast, like they used to do, like how they explain aerodynamics or what this component on the race car does. I think if you work that into the broadcast, you've got plenty to cover the 3 or 4 hour window that the race is going to run. Mr. J said last week NBC and Jeff Burton gave the blind lady a ride in the NBC car. That was really cool. Yeah, that's what we're talking about for sure, Mr. J. Definitely really cool, and I hope they get more stories like that in there. Like I said, if you could have seen the story, I know that a lot of people don't like Kyle Busch, but if you could have seen the story that Kyle Busch had with the elderly lady, uh, bringing her to the racetrack, letting her watch a race, she brought her whole family with her. I think she was 84 years old. I think it was her first NASCAR race, something like that, and she was always a Kyle Busch fan. So that was a really cool story. Um, Social media is for us fans and by fans. Network NASCAR coverage has been so bad for so long. I agree with that. I think network coverage has strayed far away from what it once was, as far as when it was really good at covering the sport. So I would agree with you there, and I think they need to take a clue from some of these people on social media that are doing these personal interest stories, and they could play off of them. It would help everybody. It would help the NASCAR, the mainstream media coverage, and it would also give a bump to that person covering that story on social media. It would help their platform as well. So I think it's win-win for everybody, and I think they should be actively looking at side stories like that going into these weekends that they could cover. But last week they did a great job with it, so I'm not knocking them. I'm just wishing they would do some more of it. And I don't remember Fox doing any of it, so Fox definitely needs to jump on board and get on it. Let's see. I would be okay with the stories during the broadcast as long as they reduce the commercials during the action. Yeah, like the commercials. There's way too many commercials in a NASCAR race. There's just no doubt about it. Uh, all commercials in a race should be side by side, and I don't know why they don't get that concept. It would just make everybody happy about it, but it is what it is. Sponsors are less consumer oriented, and drivers' faces aren't marketed anymore. Ally and Bowman have done a great job. I agree with that. They have definitely picked up sort of where Jimmy Johnson left off. So you do connect Alex Bowman with Ally, right? So that is one good one, but I can't necessarily name, other than Kyle Busch with M&Ms. I can't really name another driver that you immediately Chase Elliott with Napa, but there's not that many drivers you immediately associate with a product. Whereas back in the day, you saw all these guys. You remember Clint Boyer with the Mobil One commercial, right? Kevin Harvick with the Mobil One commercial. Kevin Harvick, Busch Beer, like he's one that you associate. But that's partially because of the length of the deal. Back in the day, Kyle Busch drove the Mellow Yellow car for like what, four, maybe 3 or 4 seasons. To this day, when you think about Kyle Petty, you think about Mellow Yellow, that 42 car, or you think of Days of Thunder. When you think about Mellow Yellow race car, there's two things you think about: Days of Thunder or Kyle Petty, and that's just like immediately. If you lived in that era, that's where your mind goes. And I think sponsorships are missing out on a key aspect of that. Like when I think of Tide, I still think of Darrell Waltrip. When I go to the grocery store, I still look to buy like Tide or products that sponsor race cars. So I think they sort of miss out on that opportunity. They don't market it quite as good as they used to. They're not quite getting the bang for their buck. I think that they should be, or they're not putting the effort into it, however you want to look at it. It needs to be more coverage of grassroots racing. Not everyone has MAV TV. Uh, that's a fair point, said Mark Marnham. I brought that up. Yeah, basically, the only way to look at that would be to buy a subscription to Flow TV, which I think is joined up with MAV TV anyway. So you would have to have a subscription outside of what you already have, all the other stuff you have. So another subscription service. But Flow TV does cover all that stuff. I know a lot of my friends have it, and they are super happy with it. I also think NASCAR putting races behind a paywall hurts the sport and all future potential fans. Like the NFL, all races should be free to watch, Mr. J. Well, that's definitely how you grow the sport. You definitely want it to be on a network that everybody can watch it. I agree with you there. So the NFL sort of gets a pass. You don't get to see every single NFL game if you have regular cable, but they have more games. So NASCAR doesn't have that luxury of not putting something on major TV like the NFL does. So I agree with you that NASCAR needs to figure out a way to get all of these races on regular TV. No doubt about it for sure. Martin Truex, Junior Bass Pro Shops, Connor Brown. Yeah, that's another good one. I don't know why I left him out, but Once you turn on the camera, you just forget everything sometimes. He's another good example. But definitely other brands that sponsor drivers need to get behind it like that. So you connect those two when you think about them. NASCAR drivers used to do so much more and a better job of advertising their sponsors. Jeff Gordon did the best with Pepsi. Jeremy Mayfield did a great job marketing Dodge as well. I agree with you. I think if sponsors would put that level of emphasis on those drivers, they would get so much more bang for their buck. I would love to see it happen again. I don't know if it will or not, but I think it would be a smart use of their sponsorship of that driver is definitely to get his face on some of those commercials and some of that marketing that they do stuff with. At least make it more prominent than it currently is. I'd like to see Razor sponsor a driver in the Cup Series someday. Yeah, there's a few. There's a few of those. I think Haley Deegan has a. It's not Razor, but she's got maybe another brand. But there's definitely some companies like that are thinking about it. I know One Wheel sponsored Chase Elliott. Uh, yeah, so I think there's definitely a room for that. The problem is there's so many younger drivers now that no one knows who these kids are, said Bill Hall. Yeah, that's exactly my point. You need more stories about drivers so you can sort of see what their personality is, see how they are away from the racetrack. Probably the only young driver that people know a ton about or you see anywhere not at a racetrack would be a Haley Deegan, a Noah Gregson, guys like that have social media reach. So I think part of it is you have to be on social media to see it, but some of these guys do a great job on social media, or some of these drivers do a great job on social media getting the word out there. So part of it is on the driver, but also part of it is on the broadcast itself that they don't sit down and have these long talks with these younger drivers. Like Austin Cindric, the only thing I'll just use him as an example. The only thing I know about Austin Cindric is his dad is a bigwig at Penske, right? So I don't know anything else about the guy's personality because he's a Daytona 500 winner, and I have yet to see a sit down conversation with the Daytona 500 winner from this year on Fox or NBC's broadcasts. So, I mean, what does that tell you about the coverage? It's just not like it was back in the day. Back in the day, you won the Daytona 500. They talked about you for 2 or 3 weeks solid. Now, you're just the guy that won the Daytona 500 on to the next one. So just a weird that they do it like that this way, but that's just the way they do it, I guess. Michael Waltrip with Aaron's commercials were great too. Yeah, I agree. Good point, Bumblebee. That was a great series of commercials. No doubt about it. Can't remember, but somebody had Boudreaux's butt paste, Sunny V back in the day. Yeah, I don't remember that one, but I remember Dude Wipes. Dude Wipes has sponsored Matt DiBenedetto for a while. Like he's the Dude Wipes guy. That was Shauna Robinson and Arca Epileptic. Look at that Bumblebee, clutch with the save. Shauna Wipes with the butt paste. Tide and Ricky Rudd as well. Oh yeah, the Tide number 5 car was definitely solid. Dwayne Mueller, no doubt about that. I blank out Ricky Rudd because him and Dale Earnhardt had such a rivalry. He got grouped into the same. Although I liked him later in his career, he got grouped into the Jeff Gordon category where I pulled against him. I was a straight up hater. Won't even lie about it. But I do have a model car of his that I put together. So I did end up liking him. He was just a cool dude, but he raced Earnhardt too hard. The genesis of that was I was in North Wilkesboro, and he, in my opinion, cost Dale Earnhardt a race because Earnhardt bumped him out of the way and got the lead. Or he bumped Earnhardt out of the way to get the lead. Earnhardt bumped him back. He lost control of his car, spun out, and they put Earnhardt in the back of the field with Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace and Jeff Bodine put on a show for the win. This is my first ever race. I don't actually remember every single piece of it because in my mind I remember Dale Earnhardt winning. But I went and rewatched it recently. I think it was like 89, maybe 86, 88, somewhere in there. Rusty Wallace was in the 27 Kodiak car. So, but yeah, I was a Ricky Rudd hater because of that. Basically, he cost me seeing Dale Earnhardt win the first race I ever attended at North Wilkesboro. I really liked it when Gordon did the Drive for Hunger toward the end of his career. Said Rich L, yeah, I love those sponsorships too when they have like a meaning behind them, like a purpose, like a cause. Those are definitely really cool. You see Friends of Jacqueline on gosh, I can't think of the guy. Honeycutt. Caden Honeycutt's car in the truck series. That's another cool one. You also see it in a bunch of short track races too. Tony plus Home Depot said Sonny V. Yeah, no doubt. A lot of people remember the Office Depot too. Uh, it's a shame networks don't do it anymore. Can-Am and Deegan, that's who it is. Mark Barnum, Can-Am and Haley Deegan, that's who it is for sure. And I think Dale Jr. had one at one point too. Because on the podcast he talked about he pulled up in another one and his dad told him to get off of it. That's him and Ty Norris had some friction because he tried to sign Dale Jr. to a different brand than Dale Sr. was riding in or something like that back in the day. Mama has officially cracked open a Bud Light. Let it let it be race day. Bumblebee, I hear you. No doubt about it. That's a good. You can't do it all day if you don't start at noon. Apparently, Kaz Gralla, mom noticed me, something that I never had in my bingo card on Twitter. The driver's mom noticed me and liking one of my tweets. What is happening? Yeah, Kaz Gralla had a great run yesterday. He recovered from that early incident, and he ended up getting a fifth place finish. Got as high as fourth, but ended up finishing fifth. Kaz Gralla, he's another good one, man. I wish he would get a full-time ride in something. He is such a good race car driver, and he just cannot get a sponsor to get a full-time ride. And I just don't know why, because the guy's good. He's right up there with Parker Kligerman. I just don't get it, man. They're both really good. They should be driving full-time. Do you think NASCAR reality show on USA will be good, like in 2000 ABC when the NASCAR had the series like that? Not like the Dillon show. So, yeah, they are definitely doing that show a lot different. The Austin Dillon show is sort of in the same vein as Chris Lee Knows Best or whatever that is. It's sort of for that goofy reality TV show. People that like that hokey homey sort of just whatever. That's how the Austin Dillon thing is set up. This new NASCAR reality show that USA is doing looks very serious. Like they're asking real questions. It's closer to Drive to Survive. Like it's a real look into the deal. So I think it's actually going to be pretty good. The trailer looks really good, I should say. Hopefully the show is as good as the trailer. Ricky Rudd should be in the Hall of Fame, no doubt about it. Ricky Rudd was one of the best drivers ever. Iconic with him with the tape holding his eyes open so he could keep racing. Different era, of course. Of course, we wouldn't want anybody to do that now, but it just shows how determined he was. Didn't want anybody getting in his race car. Wanted to keep racing, score as many points as possible. The Gamer 360, they don't even do victory lane speeches anymore. They just talk to the driver at the finish line. Yeah, I agree. Talking at the finish line is lame, and it got him into trouble. So hopefully they just get off of that and go to victory lane and get the victory lane speech and all that good stuff. It's a lot cooler in victory lane because those sponsors pay a lot of money, and the visual is just cooler to see all the stuff stacked on the race car and stuff like that. Mom and Pops was cool back in the day. Dale Earnhardt sponsor. I want them back. Molten Rage said, "Yeah, Mom and Pops was definitely really cool. I've got a diecast somewhere back there of Dale Jr. driving the Mom and Pops late model car." Rich L, y'all like the stream? While you're here, consider subbing to the channel. BB has some great videos and streams. Thanks. Appreciate it, Rich. Yeah, if you don't mind hitting that like button, I had to restart this deal. So if you could hit the like button, that would help out a whole lot. I would really appreciate it. And of course, anything you want to ask me, just go ahead and ask me. I'm going to try to get all these. Network commercials don't market to core NASCAR demographic. They're sort of leaning toward one direction of the aisle, said Sven Larson. I agree with you there. Lick that like button, Mark Barnum. That's a shout out to the Iceberg. He likes to lick that like button. I forgot what stream he was on, but he misspoke and said lick that like button. So lick that like button if you don't mind. RJ Bansma, darn you Comcast. Molten Rage said, fun fact, Kaz Gralla's mom's name is Karen Gralla. There you go. So there is your trivia for the day. Karen Gralla is Kaz Gralla's mom. What's going on, BB? Boy, I hope Kimmy beats the 11 car today, Aaron Armstrong. So that is definitely the race within the race that I think everybody should be watching. Definitely watch to see if Kimi Räikkönen can outrun Denny Hamlin. I'm going to watch it at each stage, and I'm going to watch it for the race overall because I'm interested to see a guy who he's not really looking to score points. He's just looking to get the best finish he can get. I'm looking to see how different his strategy is from the other guys' strategies. But I think everybody's strategy will pretty much line up because I think everybody is just trying to win this race. I think points are just nobody's even thinking about those right now. So I think that's out the window. So I think everybody should pretty much be on a similar strategy. I don't see anybody staying out there and scoring stage points other than to maybe make a guy feel better. You might see some I don't know, guys that have had rough seasons like Ty Dillon or Ricky Stenhouse. You might see them stay out and score some stage points or something like that. But I don't think anybody is really going to be points racing today. So I think it'll all be a pretty similar strategy. And I don't think anybody's going to be cutting anybody any slack. I think it's going to be a rough race. I think the aggression is going to be all the way up, and it's going to get even rougher at Daytona, I think, unfortunately. So it'll be should be interesting to watch. What's a nun's favorite cheese? Swiss, because it's holy. RJ Bansma with the nice dad joke there. I like it. Kimmy, I hope Kimmy takes the 11 car out today, said Mark Barnum. I hope he doesn't take him out. I hope he just finishes in front of him because I think that would be an even bigger win, in my opinion, I think. I haven't had a drink of alcohol since 1985. Every now and again, I wouldn't mind getting a cold beer, but I just stopped. My first few years in the Navy, I drank like a fish and just gave up. Rich Hill, yeah, I like the suds myself, but I don't do it nearly as hard as I used to. I achieved everything I wanted to in that career, is what I tell people, and I'm retired now. I just I'll have one here and there. Sven Larson, Austin Dillon show. I don't like the narrative. It's hokey. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It's hokey. It very much reminds me of Chris Lee Knows Best. I'm pretty sure it's probably the same producer. He didn't misspeak. He's been saying that for a while. LOL. NRF said. I'm going to say this with Denny Hamlin isn't wrong with what he said. It wasn't disrespectful because he has a point. People are expecting Kimmy to immediately be contending. He's not in a new car. Everything is new. Well, I mean, yeah, but Denny worded it the way Denny worded it. He worded it to get it out there and trend because he was tired of Trackhouse and Kimi Räikkönen winning the press battle before the race started, in my opinion. So he went and threw that out there so that every time you mention Kimi Räikkönen's name, you got to mention, oh, Denny Hamlin said this. So it's just a way of getting into the news cycle and not letting them win the weekend. And I think he does that because he's the owner of 2311. He doesn't want 2311 being overshadowed by anybody any weekend. So I think you've seen him stay active on social media and stuff like that this entire season. This last two seasons, to be totally honest with you, I think he tries to win the news cycle, and I think that's something he does. Mark Wachowski goes same for Denny's championship, so that's another thing people brought up. Kimi Räikkönen is a former champion, and Denny Hamlin has not won a championship yet. But to be fair, they're both really good drivers. That's just one of those things people are throwing out there. I'm not going to disrespect either guy. I think they both race at a high level, but Denny definitely said that, in my opinion, to get out there and stoke the flames a little bit, get Trackhouse's name out of the media, or at least get Denny Hamlin's name in the media so that when it's mentioned, you have to mention it back. He has to get used to it, everything. So Hamlin's right. It's going to take time for him. Yeah, about halfway through the race, I think he's going to have it figured out, to be honest with you. He was 10th fastest in practice. I don't think Kimmy's going to have a hard time putting this car together. And here's why, Moulton. Here's why I say that. This is everybody's first trip with this car to this racetrack. So I think everybody is on a similar enough playing field. Will he have to get used to a stock car? Somewhat, but he did pretty well in the truck series. He probably would have done okay in the Xfinity series if they didn't have so many mechanical problems in those races he had there. So I just see him as being a guy. There are some open wheel guys who struggle with stock cars. I just don't think Kimi Räikkönen is going to be one of them. You saw Lewis Hamilton jump into a stock car and outpace Tony Stewart at a road course when they did trading paints. So there are some guys that can just jump in and they adapt to it better than other guys. I think Kimi Räikkönen is going to be fine. Like I said, I don't think a top 10 is out of question, but I see him anywhere from 10th to 20th realistically. A, because of where he qualified, and B, because the team he's with doesn't do pit stops every weekend, so something could happen there. And also, it's not a team that races every weekend, So are they going to know which adjustments to make when they're getting the feedback from the driver? So on and so forth. But if everything goes well, I could definitely see him getting the top 10 if everything plays his way. Uh, my mom told me if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. Uh, Anyone who takes out Hamlin would be great. Yeah, I missed something in the chat, so I guess something got goalied. I'm feeling Denny Hamlin love in here, said Rich L. Yeah, I don't have anything about against Denny Hamlin. I think he did it. It was sort of a strategic thing. He said it strategically to get his name cycling into the media every time he talked about Kimi Räikkönen and Trackhouse, and it's working because we're talking about it. So I think he did. I think he did what he was meaning to do. Your channel has come a long way. I love it. Backyard tailgating, watching. Thanks. Said Sven Larson. Appreciate it, Sven. Uh, Two wild card races go into the playoffs. This is the only time I can be on board with this system, said Mr. J. I'm still against the system, but it does create like this. The whole reason it is made is to create these manufactured emotional responses to each race. So it does accomplish that. It is an exciting system to watch. I'm not taking that away from it. My critique of this system is this: when you compare these champions to previous champions like Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, you can't compare the championships the same way. So all you can go by now is race wins and stuff like that. So, and that's not fair to other guys who raced in other eras where consistency was key. If they knew it only counted as race wins, they might have been more aggressive and gone for race wins. So it is what it is. It's just sort of like, and back in those days, guys that want to race here and there, they would have been in the playoffs. Everything's totally different. So it's just really hard to compare eras. It's always hard to compare eras anyway, but this makes it even more difficult to compare eras. So it takes a little bit of the fun away out of it. That is my big issue with this point system. Uh, but it rewards the championship. Everybody knows the system going in. So all these champions are real. I'm not ever going to be a guy that says, "Oh, this guy's not a real champion because he only won 2 races and when it mattered." Yeah, but everybody knew the system going in. They knew the 2 races they had to win, right? So I'm never gonna be that guy that says that. But it's definitely a different type of system, and I don't think it compares even remotely to any other era's system or any other motorsport system of doing things. Uh, so it's just totally different, and I don't like it. I'll just say that I don't like it. I like the old way of doing things. Um, let's put Denny in an F1 race and see if he wins. Yeah, so that's been a good criticism as well. Kimi also raced rally cars. Yeah, Kimi Räikkönen just likes to get in race cars, and that's part of the reason I like him. Like when he was almost at the peak of his F1 career, he jumped out and for a couple of years and just sort of did his own thing, racing whatever he wanted to race. Uh, and I always thought that was really cool. Um, no chance at a top 5. Helen G said, no, when I say finishes within the top 10, he can finish anywhere within the top 10. Like it's just so hard to gauge this race. But yeah, I could see him finishing top 5 if everything goes right. Like it's a road course. You have to race a perfect clean race. The pit crew is my big concern because I don't know what pit crew he's going to have. Have they been pitting every single race? And we know they haven't been pitting every single race with this single lug. So as long as that doesn't go wrong, and as long as his crew can stay on top of the adjustments for the racetrack, I think he's going to have a great shot at a top 10. And like I said, anywhere within that top 10, he could have a top 5. I think his skill level is there. I think, like I said on the show, I talked about who was it? Juan Pablo Montoya. His first road course race in the Cup Series, he won the race, right? So I think I think Kimi Räikkönen is a more talented or on par with Juan Pablo Montoya. Me personally, I'm a Kimi Räikkönen fan. That's why I'm saying it like this. I think Kimi Räikkönen is a way better driver than Juan Pablo Montoya, and I think Juan Pablo Montoya is a world class driver. So I don't think Kimi Räikkönen is going to have a serious problem translating his talent into this car. Where he finishes, who knows? But it's going to be fun to watch him race with Denny Hamlin because Denny Hamlin has qualified back there with Kimi Räikkönen, so they're not that far apart to start this race. I'm not going to be disrespectful. I think he's going to be good in this race. I'm just saying I think we should temper our expectations a little bit. I do like the Iceman, but I'm not expecting a top 10. Yeah, I'm not expecting anything from him. I'm just going off the comments that Denny Hamlin made when Denny Hamlin basically said he's got no chance. I'm not going to sit here and say he's got no chance. That's all I'm saying. Anybody in this race has a chance. I mean, we've seen guys win because of fog, Chris Buescher. We've seen guys win because of rain, Justin Haley. Like, anything can happen. So as long as you're in the race, you've got a chance. Like, in the race, stay on the lead lap. Anything can happen. So I like I said, Denny Hamlin, and I'm not knocking Denny Hamlin for saying what he said. Like I said, I fully believe Denny Hamlin said it like that to get into the news cycle. So just a lot of stuff going on, but I did have to address it. I think Kimi Räikkönen has a chance, and a lot of people think he has no chance at all. Like, a lot of people have been hitting me on the messages on the channel. What are you talking about? You're a moron. Blah 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 blah. I mean, normal stuff, but a lot of people disagree with my opinion, which is fine. We're welcome to all opinions here, no doubt about it. I think the independent rear end makes the car more welcoming to drivers from other disciplines. Denny might just be mad that Trackhouse is so far ahead of 2311. Aaron Armstrong said there's definitely a 2311 Trackhouse rivalry, and that's what I was talking about with winning the news cycle. Whenever Trackhouse, let's look at it for the rest of the season. Whenever Trackhouse is getting a lot of press, let's see if Denny Hamlin or 2311 doesn't release some spicy news or something like that. We'll follow it the rest of the season because I guarantee you it will play out like that. Someone would have to tape my eyes open to watch Austin Dillon in the Fast Lane show, free to pay. Sid, I usually leave my TV. I don't watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of like streaming and YouTube. So I just leave my TV on USA because that's where all the races are on. So when the streaming stuff is off, Life in the Fast Lane plays a lot of Law and Order. Chrisley Knows Best in the mornings, which is equally as in the same vein as the Austin Dillon show. It's not for me, but there is a market for it. That market is just not me, and a lot of people seem to agree with me there. I'm still taking issue with Denny still going at Ross. That issue is over. He is just going to push it like he pushed Logano in 2013. And if he gets hurt again, being stupid, he deserves it. Yeah, like Denny loves to be petty, and it's a strength of his, and it can also be a weakness. It's one of those deals where it can be a big strength and a big weakness. He can use that to motivate himself to race really well. He can also get caught up in it and take it too far. Like, the Ross Chastain thing should be over with. He should be focused. I'm not saying it should be over with because of whatever. He should have retaliated that day or the next race. Be done with it. Put it out of your mind and go on and focus on winning the championship. Don't let it linger and go on and milk it for maximum drama because it becomes a distraction. And that's my only issue with it. Don't let something like that become a distraction when you've got a championship winning car. You're in the chase and just don't let it become a distraction like that. I don't get it. I've never got it. And I'm not saying it's ever cost him a championship, but it has not helped him win one either. Like I said, you can take those slights or perceived slights and you can use them to motivate you to race better, or you can get caught up in the drama. In this particular case, I think Denny Hamlin has gotten caught up in the drama, and he needs to just drop it and let it go. But that's just my take on it. It is what it is. Molten Ray says he's taking the other side of it. He says I disagree. I've shown he has shown, talking about Denny Hamlin, he has shown respect to a lot of drivers recently since 2019 when he changed his mood from being an aggressive driver to being a pretty respectful driver. I mean, yeah, he's gotten older and he's backed it down a lot, but I still think he gets sort of caught up in this this petty stuff sometimes, and even if it's just a back and forth on Twitter. Like, he got into a back and forth on Twitter with Corey LaJoie. And he took some comment, in my opinion, took some comments too far, taking a shot at Corey LaJoie for being in lesser equipment and just being super petty, mean girl Denny. He went all the way there with a young guy coming up, and it just wasn't his best moment. Like I said, sometimes, but he was being competitive and he wanted to win. Did he win the put down contest? Yeah. But did he make himself look good doing it? No. So he got into this petty battle with somebody and he made himself not look as great as he could be. Now, I'll say this behind the scenes, I feel like Denny Hamlin is one of the nicest. He probably takes care of those people at 2311 better than a lot of owners, right? So I think he takes care of his people, but like I said, I think he can get sucked into these little petty arguments, and he's competitive and he wants to win them. So sometimes I think he just takes it too far. So basically, that's where I see some of this stuff going. Sometimes with Denny, he needs to just let the petty stuff go and just focus on winning a championship. Uh, but he knows what he's doing. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, so he doesn't need any advice from me either. That's just my take on it. I still remember him flat jumping Chase at Martinsville too. Yeah, like that's actually why probably a lot of people don't like him. There was the Joey Logano incident why a lot of people don't like him. I mean, just you can sort of go through the timeline and pick a driver as to when they became a Denny Hamlin hater, or you can pick them as to why they became a Denny Hamlin fan. Like if people that don't like Chase Elliott or people that don't like Joey Logano, that's kind of the moment they became a Denny Hamlin fan. So it sort of is what it is. And the thing with Joey Logano is still ongoing. He still doesn't like Joey Logano. So that's what I'm saying. Let the petty stuff go. This thing with Ross Chastain, is it going to turn into a Joey Logano thing? Is he going to dislike him for the rest of his career? Who knows? Like it's one of those deals. In my opinion, let the Ross Chastain thing go and focus on winning the championship. But it is what it is. That's a good word to put on it, BB petty. Yeah, and I mean that's just the way I see it. He uses petty drama like that to he just gets involved in it. I'll give you another example. Michael Jordan was like that in basketball. Michael Jordan would take offense to the least little thing, but he would use it to motivate himself to play better the next game. Instead of just getting into a back and forth verbal argument with a guy, he would say, I didn't like what this guy said, put it in my mental bank here. And next time I come to, let's say a Boston writer wrote something negative about him. Next time I come to Boston, I'm dropping 50. That's how Michael Jordan took it. So, like I said, you can use these petty things that irritate you to motivate you to get better, or you can get into this back and forth that's not going to help anybody. And I think that's where Denny sort of gets into it sometimes. He lets his emotions get the better of him, and he gets into these back and forth petty things, like the back and forth on the racetrack with Ross Chastain. The really funny, it's just short track racing when he did it. Joey Logano, like they've had on and off track deals. The petty thing with Corey LaJoy, like you can go down the list. And I'm not picking on Denny Hamlin. This is just a character trait of his that over a period of time we've seen. Right, he can get sucked into a petty battle, and it can somewhat distract him sometimes, in my opinion. But that being said, he's a great driver, and he could definitely win a championship. I'm not taking anything away from the guy. This is just a interesting character trait that he has. Michael Honeychuck said, "What's up? What's up, Michael? Mr. J, Denny is that guy who just can't get even. He has to try to one up the other guy. After that, they are even. Yeah, so he's a topper. That's another way, Mr. J. That's another way of looking at him. He's a topper. If somebody does something, he has to top them. I have to finish it, and I have to be on top. And in sports, that doesn't always go out the best way because all these guys are competitive. They're all toppers in a sense. So if you constantly have to top a guy and you get into it with another topper, it's just a continuous cycle, right? And you see something like we've seen for God knows how long has the Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin thing been going on. But you can see a situation like that where it just never ends. It's an endless cycle of pettiness to an extent. Mark Barnum, yeah. So I'm not going to get into his personal life. I'm gonna leave that to the side. Let's see. Mark Wachowski says Joey has a title, so I guess that's the topper there. Negative Squirrel, don't like any of them. That's fair enough. MJ was a great ball player, not so much a person. Mark Wachowski with that comment, and you see that a lot. Mark Martin on his podcast said everything that made me a great race car driver did not make me a great person. And when I retired, that's one of the things I had to learn. if you don't listen to any other Mark Martin podcast, I can't remember which one it is, but find that podcast when he is talking about that. That is some of the deepest stuff you'll ever see. But yeah, sometimes when an athlete is locked in and doing his thing, he is of a mindset that makes him a great athlete, great race car driver, great even in business, great at business. But it might not be a person you want to be around, and you see that a lot with a lot of guys. And then when they retire, they become a totally different person. Bobby Knight. Bobby Knight, as a basketball coach, ornery, aggravating to the media, didn't want to talk to nobody. As soon as he retires, goes into the media, one of the funniest commentators you'd ever see. So it's like once they stop competing, like the switch gets flipped off. But some people, the switch never gets flipped off. But yeah, I definitely can see where you're coming from there, Mark. I know what you mean. Chase and Larson are going to be hard to beat today. I agree with you. Uh, the win could definitely come from that front row right there, no doubt about it. The other guys I had in that mix would be Kyle Busch, and even though they qualified poorly, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex, you'd have to look at AJ Allmendinger, another guy you'd have to look at, and also Tyler Reddick and Chase Briscoe, really good at this track. Don't sleep on Daniel Suarez, Ty Gibbs, or Chris Buescher either. Those are definitely my rundowns. If you're doing fantasy or if you're doing your picks, I did the DraftKings picks earlier. I think when I pulled up that DraftKings, that's what fried out my internet feed. So I'm not going to do that again. But when this one's over, you can go back and watch the other one and get the DraftKings picks and feeds and stuff like that. So let's see. Joey is the definition of a Mickey Mouse champion. People criticize Chase for it. See, that's where I'm not going to get into it there because they all had the same set of rules at the beginning of the season. But then they let Joey get away with the championship, and that was like GD Truex. So here's the deal: like you can call Joey Logano's championship Mickey Mouse if you don't like that system. But if we were going by the old system, Moulton, if we were going by the old system, Joey Logano would be a two-time champion. So either way you look at it, either system you like, Joey Logano is a champion. But like I said, I don't do the whole that guy's not a champion because this system stinks. I think that's just something a fan says when a guy he doesn't like wins the championship. So it is what it is. Yeah. So Denny and Joey and Martin Truex and Kevin Harvick all the way. Said Christina Campbell. I like those picks right there. I'd like to see Denny try to whoop up on on Cale Yarborough. Yeah, Cale Yarborough was no joke, man. That guy was tough. He was one of the he was definitely one of the dudes. He was tough to handle. Let's see, who was it he got in a fight with? Was it Bobby Allison got him, and then Donnie Allison came in later. So it took two Allisons to get him down. But Cale Yarborough was he was a tough customer, no doubt about it. Cale Yarborough, probably one of my all time most underrated drivers ever. He just doesn't, and he's a 3-time champion. He just doesn't get the respect, in my opinion, that a lot of people uh, should probably put on him. Don't sleep on Cole. He's pretty good on road courses. Yeah, Cole Custer is definitely good on road courses. He came back from a spin or something. Who was it? I think Brandon Jones got into the back of him. Brandon Jones spun him, and he came back and still got a good top 10 at the road course yesterday in the Xfinity Series. So I wouldn't sleep on Cole Custer. Not sure where he qualified, but he's definitely a threat at road courses. And Brad Keselowski rolling off 15th. I wouldn't sleep on him either. He's pretty good at this racetrack as well. And we know those RFK cars are fast. Oh yeah, Rich L. BB likes to keep it clean in chat. Let's keep the cuss words and politics down. Yeah, and the reason for that is it's not that in real life I don't swear and stuff like that. It's just that there are kids on here, and kids will eventually learn cuss words, but they don't have to learn them from me. So that's just my stance on it. So I try to keep it clean on YouTube. Uh, Also, it's beneficial because too many cuss words and I'll get the yellow dollar sign of sadness where I get not demonetized for that video or whatever. Do you see the future? You commentating races on a live stream, Mark Wachowski? I don't know if I'm set up to do play by play. Uh, but I would try it. I don't know about TV, but I could definitely. There might be a situation where I could do one at Ace Speedway. I help them out a lot sometimes. So it might be a situation where I can get up there and talk with Blake McCandless. Blake McCandless calls the races for them, so I might could assist him, let him carry the weight, carry the heavy load, and I could jump in here and there. Uh, yeah, I don't know. It's not anything I've thought of just yet. But I would definitely give it a try. Like that's definitely I definitely like trying new things. Joey drove the wheels off his car in 2018, especially those last 10 races. He's absolutely the champion that year. Oh yeah, there's no doubt. Like they all knew the rules going into that season, and Joey played it the right way. They got hot at the right time, and there might be a reason they got hot at the right time. Let's see. Poor old Cole. Good thing his daddy's in the organization. Said Dwayne Mueller. Yeah, I mean Cole Custer's a good driver. He's gonna get knocked for the same reason that Austin Dillon and Ty Gibbs get knocked, but he's a decent driver. Um, Cole Daddy's Custer. Oh man, don't mess with Moulton's guy. Cole Custer is Moulton's guy. Take it easy. Don't forget the Rooster Ricky Rudd. Ricky Rudd was a tough character too. He was definitely another tough guy. The hardest fought championship was Stuart Edwards, tied in points, and Tony won one more race, so he got it. Mark Wachowski, yeah, that's definitely. And don't forget that weird caution that came out that a lot of Carl Edwards fans say cost Carl Edwards the championship that year. But that was definitely a great championship. I still think the '92 season was probably, to me, more exciting. But that's just a personal bias because Alan Kowicki won it. Uh, Denny couldn't carry Cal's lunchbox. Kale's lunchbox. I got you. Yeah. I'm not going to get into that, but I will say, in my opinion, the best driver of an 11 car was definitely Cale Yarborough. No doubt about it. Dwayne Mueller said, "I'm just messing with you, Moulton." Uh, let's see. What's up, BB? Love your show. What's up, Seth Lemons? Good to have you on here. Uh, Lily's Crafty Corner. Good to see you on here, Lily. Would you think Hamlin would have learned his trash talking and holding a grudge and caused him to lose several championships? Yeah, you would think a guy would learn that, but and it's just sort of how we set up. Once you get so locked in to being competitive at every they sort of get locked into this belief that you have to be competitive at every aspect of your life, including a petty argument. That they think if they lose anything, they're going to lose some type of edge. So I think that is where he just stays locked in. I think once he retires, he's going to be a totally different person. Like you won't even recognize the smart aleck and stuff like that. You saw it with Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon was sort of he had a quick wit and a sharp tongue too. But once he retired, totally different Jeff Gordon. He's laid back. He's like, hey, what's going on? I mean, he's like a totally different dude. Like he is not the same Jeff Gordon that I hated when I was a Dale Earnhardt fan. Let me just put it to you that way. He is totally just a different guy, and that's what happens when some of these guys retire. And some guys retire and they can't turn it off. There is that issue too. But a lot of guys retire and they turn it off. I think when you see Denny retire, you'll see him turn it off. He's already mellowed to an extent. Uh, Not nearly as abrasive as he once was as a younger guy, as all younger people are. When you're younger, you're just more uh, you're typically more aggressive because you don't know what you don't know. Uh, Never forget that Kyle Busch almost got hurt really bad at Daytona. Missed like 4 races, came back and won the championship. Yeah, that's for sure, Mark. And a lot of people to this day complain about that. They're like, "Oh, he missed 4 races. He never should have been a champion." But everybody knew the rules going in that year, and he played by the rules. Um, okay, I'm just going to say Cole is the most overhated driver in the sport. Molten Rage said everyone treats him like he's the worst thing all the time because he's not performing that great. God, the haters are annoying. Molten Rage, don't worry about it. They're just picking at you. They don't mean anything by it. They're just having some fun with you. And that's what we do on this channel. We're having fun. But yes, Cole Custard probably gets more hate than he deserves, probably because his dad works at Stewart Haas. But I think if a lot of people met Cole Custer, they'd be like, "Oh, he's a pretty cool guy." If you just follow his social media stuff, a lot of people would like Cole Custer. Seth Lemons, what's up, buddy? But yeah, Cole Custer, he's definitely a good follow on social media. His Old Spice commercials alone are just awesome. So that's one company, Old Spice with Cole Custer. They've done a great job there. So check out those. Just Google Cole Custer Old Spice commercials. They're pretty funny. Uh, you only need to run half a season to win the championship. Kurt could win, said William Tyer. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Is if he can get back for that first playoff race, he's got just as good a chance as anybody else. Epileptic Bumblebee says, "I love all of you." Yeah. So, and like I said, they're just playing. Don't ever get too twisted about people picking at your driver on here. Bumblebee, I'm a BK fan. I feel your pain. Yeah, Brad Keselowski's had a rough year. Did qualify 15th today. Is good at road courses. RFK is fast, so don't count him out. Just like you don't count out Cole Custer. Cole Custer's good at road courses. As long as they gave him a good car under him, he should be good. Let's see. Briscoe qualified 14th. So let's see. Is that the highest SHR car? Appears to be the highest SHR car. So top 15. Cole Custer can get there too. Molten Rage says I wasn't talking about anybody in particular. I was talking about Twitter Cole Custer haters. Yeah, don't even get on Twitter if it stresses you out like that. Once you start getting stressed out on Twitter, just get on something else and look at that, because Twitter can go bad fast. Just if you're getting bothered on Twitter, just turn off Twitter and do something else for a little while. Twitter's cool for news stories, but it can also be really bad too. Like, I'll just leave it at that. Twitter is what you make of it, I guess. Cole Custer would be a star in Xfinity Series, said Mark Wachowski. Yeah, he was a star in the Xfinity Series. David Bibb, is Eric Almirola retired or not? That is a great question. So Jim Utter from Motorsport said that he is coming back. And that was released after I released my last video, I guess. And then maybe 5 hours later, Bob Pockrass asked Eric Almirola to his face, and Eric Almirola said, "I haven't made a decision yet." So, and then when somebody else pressed him on the question, he said, "Well, I guess you have to go ask the unnamed source as to where they got that information from." So definitely threw some shade at the unnamed source. I don't think he threw shade at Jim Utter, but I think that situation right there, as far as I go, I'm going to go with what came out of Eric Almirola's mouth, that he hasn't decided yet. So, in my opinion, as far as I know, the 10 car is still open and available. So that could possibly be a landing spot for Kyle Busch, because I'm pretty sure that's where this conversation is going. Right? Is Kyle Busch going to go to Ford? So there is still a chance Kyle Busch could go to Ford if Eric Almirola retires. He says he has not decided yet, so it is what it is. Epileptic Bumblebee said, "If you're ever having a bad day or whatever, just remember you could be Rick Ware." Yeah, they have not had the greatest of NASCAR seasons ever. Any of their seasons. We need to discuss Double A coming back in 2023. So Eric Almirola, we don't know if he's going to come back or not, right? Like, he literally just said he doesn't know if he's coming back. Almost the exact same day that the news broke that he is going to come back for next season. So, do you believe the unconfirmed source or the unnamed source, or do you believe what came out of Eric Almirola's mouth? I just don't know. I have to lean toward what Eric Almirola said out of his own mouth. He doesn't know for sure, so that only means I don't know for sure, and maybe that is the holdup in the Kyle Busch situation, or something of that nature. It's just so hard to tell. So many moving parts in that deal. Hard to say on that particular matter. But if you had to pin me down, is Eric Almirola going to come back? I don't know. I guess he said at the beginning of the season that he wasn't coming back, and now he is unsure about it. So if you're unsure about it, that makes me think that you're leaning toward maybe coming back. But That's just 100% a guess. He's at least thinking about coming back. If you're thinking about coming back, you're probably going to come back. It might be a Brett Favre situation where I'm going to retire. No, I'm not. So or uh, Tom Brady, I'm retired. No, I'm not. So yeah, it's just hard to say on the Eric Almirola deal. I'm glad I didn't make a video about it because then he flip flopped within 5 hours of each other, and I was just like, well, look, I'm glad I didn't make a video. I'll just let it play out and see what actually happens. NASCAR fans, are you retiring, Mark? Flash Racing Entertainment said, yeah. So Mark Martin's another one. Yeah, Mark retired, and then he unretired, and then he retired, and then he came back, and then he ran a full season, then he retired again. So it was pretty cool. Mark, I have not decided yet. Yeah. I think that's where Eric Almirola is at for sure. Uh, Flash Racing Entertainment, appreciate that one. That's a good point to bring up. Uh, Cal Tiki said, "Hey BB, little Kyle, yeah, Kyle Larson definitely got it done yesterday. He might get it done today if luck holds up like it did yesterday. If he gets some luck like he got yesterday, he'll definitely win." Eric hasn't made his mind up yet about retirement. I'm not sure. Tony and Gene know. Yeah, I think that's up in the air. Late in the season for it to be up in the air, but it's definitely up in the air. But they have gone later in the season than this for sure. Mr. J, I feel like all the greats have a mental focus and that clutch gene that allows them to thrive in big moments. I agree with you there, Mr. J. You definitely see it with the playoff drivers, right? Every year, the guy that wins the championship, at some point, he's in some weird predicament, and he pulls it out. Even last year, the last race of the season with Kyle Larson, he was having a terrible year, but he just kept getting after it. And uh, luckily he got into some type of a scrape, and it flared his rear fender out just enough, and that flaring of that rear fender just woke that car up. And then after that, he went and won the race, won the championship. So you just got to stay in it the whole time, for sure. Somebody said Twitter is a cesspool. Yeah, for sure. Twitter free for me, says Greg Brown. Yeah. I get on there basically for news stories, but that's about it. I do throw a few tweets here and there out, but for the most part, I'm only on Twitter for the news stories. I try not to get sucked into anything else. I only follow race car fans and race car drivers and race car organizations. That is my strategy for keeping it tolerable. He originally said he wasn't reaching full time. I wasn't racing full time, Bill Hall. So yeah, that's another option. Does Eric Almirola race part time? Just a lot of questions there. Mark Martin retired like 4 times, said Charlotte Ander. Yeah, for sure. Brad had a lot of work to do. He can win if he gets it straightened out, but I don't know if the funding is there. William Tyre said, I think they'll get the funding straightened out. They've already gotten the cars a lot faster, so they're out of the hole that they were in, where the cars had no speed. They're at least running for top tens and occasionally challenging for a win now. So I think as long as they keep trending in the right direction, they'll be okay. They got a big management group behind them, so I think they'll be okay going into the future. One thing, if Double A comes back, we know Smithfield will sponsor that car. They basically have a lifetime contract with him. That's a big deal in his decision. Yeah, I agree with that. That is super 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 nice thing to have in your back pocket if you're Eric Almirola, right? I think every driver wishes they had that. There's very few that do. Probably Chase Elliott and Bubba Wallace would be the only people that have probably just as good a sponsorship or better situation going on than him. Kyle Busch did for a long time with M&M's, but that relationship is clearly over now, unfortunately for KB. But going forward, will we ever see drivers with that type of financial security in the Cup Series under this new model? That's a good question. Lease Gibbs took the high road yesterday in his race interview. Yeah, for sure. Look, he was just going for the win. I'm not going to make more out of that than it was. He went for the win. He took out William Byron, and William Byron retaliated on the lap when they were trying to catch back up to the field. So he spun him again. Bumblebee said, "I'll give Rusty Wallace credit. When he quit, he meant it, and he stayed quit. That's for sure." And he has also come out and said he wished he hadn't quit as soon as he did because he still felt like he had some years to give. But I will give him credit there. He said, I'm retired and I'm not coming back. And he definitely retired when he still definitely had a lot to give. Uh, William Tire, I hope Larson don't try any more high speed turns. Yeah, that was a freakish incident, but yeah, I'm right there with you. Hopefully they got that issue, whatever it was, worked out. Mark Wachowski said Red Farmer at 88. Ask him if he's going to retire. Yeah, Red Farmer is not going to retire. Red Farmer is going to race as long as they'll let him race in a race car, and that's really cool. Red Farmer is one of the greatest stories out there. I think AJ's car wasn't good enough. How about Sammy Smith though in that 18? Greg Brown. Good point. I need to talk about Sammy Smith. Sammy Smith, guy we watched race in the Cars Tour in a super late model. We watched him race at South Boston in a late model. That kid, he's young and he can get it done. And I was really glad to see him get it done on a road course because that basically confirms in the Xfinity Series of all things, that confirms he can get it done at every type of track you can get it done at. I'm big on Sammy Smith. I think he's going to be one of the next big things. And another guy I would look at coming through that pipeline is a guy named Landon Pimbleton. He is a part-time ARCA racer, but he races in the local stuff, and also, of course, Lane Riggs. Lane Riggs also a part-time truck racer. So those are three guys I would keep an eye on for sure. Gibbs has matured 10 years in the last 10 months, said David Bibb. Yeah, David Bibb. I would 100% agree with that. He has definitely taken it upon his shoulders to be more considerate with his interviews and to keep his emotions in check. So I agree 100%. He has figured it out. Some people are never going to let him live down that particular incident, but he has definitely figured out what he needs to and what he doesn't need to say on the microphone, how he needs to act when he's upset, and how to keep those emotions in check. So I think he's doing a great job there as well. I agree with you 100%. I was a fan of Mark Martin, so I didn't mind him changing his mind. Said Flash Racing Entertainment. Yeah, I understand that. There are several guys I wish would not have retired when they retired, and if they came back, I would have no problem with them going back on their word. But Mark has the stats to back up waffling retirement, says Charlotte Ander. Yeah, no doubt about it. One of the coolest diecast is Rusty Wallace last call car. Yeah, that was a really cool. Tribute Miller Lite did, and I was glad they did it. I had a buddy that was graduating college back then, and he called it his last call tour too. So while Rusty was having his last call tour, that guy was having his last call tour as well. And he pretended like he was sponsored by Miller Lite just because all the last call stuff on the boxes back then. So that was really cool how that lined up. Personal tidbit. Herschel was the West Coast Richard Petty. Yeah, Herschel McGriff, man, he was pretty good. Doesn't get a lot of notoriety and respect, but Herschel McGriff was definitely a good driver. It will be interesting to see who dominates today. This new car changes everything. I agree with you, Rick Lane. I think it opens up the door for everybody to see what's going on. Rusty did say he retired a little early. RJ said, yeah, for sure. Flash, I'm with you. Mark was my driver for 20 plus years, said Rich L. Yeah, tons of Mark Martin fans out there. He's one of the most popular retired drivers of all time. One of the most popular drivers of all time. I hope Kurt Busch retires on his own way and not have to retire because of something that's out of his control. I hate when drivers have to retire on something that isn't their fault. It's demoralizing. Yeah, it is rough to watch. But that being said, I think he's doing the right thing by listening to the doctors, and I hope he gets back soon. And if he never comes back, I would be okay with that too, as long as he's listening to the doctors and doing what's best for him. I'm more concerned about his quality of life than seeing him on the racetrack again. And I mean every word of that. Like, I hope he gets back to the racetrack. That is my absolute hope. But if he can't come back to the racetrack, I would 100% respect that decision too. So wish Kurt Busch the best, and hopefully he can get back for the playoffs, or at least get back at some point and go out the way he wants to go out. But if he can't, I would really support that decision too, because his long-term health is super important, and very, very much more important than ever racing a car. No doubt about it. As hard as that is to say, and I know as hard as that would be to do, he was pushed into retiring by Bill France, Rusty, from what I heard, at least Bumblebee. I had not heard that one, but that would be interesting. If we have a Gibbs and Byron rivalry in the future, Remember, it all started in the Xfinity Series 2022 at Watkins Glen. Yeah, that's this is definitely one of those origin stories of something that goes even further and further into the future. No doubt about it. Rusty was a Grand Marshal in Sturgis this year. Oh, that's pretty cool. Gibbs was pretty impressive yesterday. He's definitely got a Mark Barnum was talking about Sturgis. William Tyre, Gibbs was impressive yesterday. He's definitely got a future ahead of him if that keeps up. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Ty Gibbs is a great race car driver. My only concern was if he was going to be able to handle his emotions. He looks like he has got his emotions in check. So my big concern about him has taken away. I think he's ready. So if they wanted to bring him up next year, I think he would be ready at this point. Uh, Now, whether or not he would immediately compete, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's emotionally ready to put in the work and figure out how to be as good as he can be. Mark Martin and Kyle Busch together have won 5 seasons of Xfinity races. Mark Wachowski, that's a pretty stout number right there. Those two guys, man, if you could throw in who is it? I think Keselowski and Kevin Harvick, you would have some even bigger numbers there. All those guys are legends in the Busch series. Remember when Rusty was on the Dale Jr. download? I actually haven't seen that one yet, but I need to watch it, RJ. Happy race day, fans. I need to go mow the lawn before the race, says Mark Barnum. Yeah, I'm going to stay on here probably another 5 minutes. My voice is starting to fade. I probably need to get another Halls here. I think it's funny with the Gibbs kid doesn't thank Jesus when he wrecks. Yeah, but he's been. I'm not going to pick on nothing like that. He's been consistent with that. He does still post Bible verses and stuff like that on Twitter. So I believe he believes in that faith. So I'm never going to pick on a guy's faith or anything like that. I'll leave that to I'll leave that for other people. Let's see. Ty Gibbs is just a kid. He has shown a ton of personal growth from earlier mistakes. This is Mr. J, by the way. But again, people need to get the fact that he is a teenager. He seems like NASCAR's next generation of talent. Yeah, no doubt about it. He's definitely a bright young star. I think him, Noah Gragson, are definitely going to be racing for a very long time into the future. And I just think that's going to be cool too. Rest in peace, Bologna Burger's voice. Yeah, that's been a theme this week. I appreciate it, Bumblebee. That's been a theme of this week. It comes and goes, and as well as how good I feel. It's just like I am on the downside of it now. I do feel 100% better than I did the first half of the week. So we're at least making progress there. David Malukas, I didn't watch the F1 race, but I heard he did really good. If he had at least 2 more laps, he would have passed the leader. Just ran out of time, but it sounded impressive. I don't know what we're talking about there. I missed something. Let's hope Gibbs isn't like the last rookie that drove the number 18. There's only one Kyle Busch, so I wouldn't worry about him doing being as far out there as Kyle Busch. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. Let's see. I personally think we got to get to 16 or 17 winners. Man, Log said that. Yeah, I would really like it if somebody like Brad Keselowski or just somebody who hasn't won a race this year, Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex, somebody like that gets in there and wins a race, and then one more person wins a race, and you would have to knock out a winner, which the winner knocked out would have to be, of course, Kurt Busch, which would be unfortunate. But for sure, Mark Wachowski said at least it's a cold and not the other thing that's going around right now. Yeah, I don't think I have to worry about that. Man, I've got to mow the lawn too, said Rich L. Oh, that's rough, man. Well, yep, I feel you. Well, BB, it's a good race today. Hopefully there's a new winner for Maximum Chaos. Yes, that's what we're at. Well, that's what we're looking for, Corey LaJoe. Maximum Chaos. That's what I want to see. Ty Dillon wins in a clutch scenario. Everybody wrecks out. Have good days, guys. That's Corey LaJoe's pick there. So he's going for Ty Dillon. That would be great. Eric Jones would be another good one to pick there from the Petty GMS camp. Either one of them would create maximum chaos, especially Ty Dillon getting a win, and then he doesn't have a ride for next year. Kyle wasn't a rookie when he took the 18, though, said Charlotte Ander. That's a good point. He drove the 5 his rookie year. Mark Martin should start a school teaching these kids the required racing etiquette and how to be classy in public. Mark Martin, fan for life, said, "Yeah, that would be a good deal. They should have a rookie class if they don't have one. I'm not sure." I was talking about Yaley, LOL, said Bansma. Oh, yeah, I forgot about. Why does everybody forget about JJ Yaley? Yeah, JJ Yaley, for sure. Uh, Ty was way more mature than Kyle at that age. Cal Tiki said Busher today, a wild card. Daytona could be crazy, no doubt about it. I like that pick, Log. I think Chris Busher has a great chance of winning. And so does Brad Keselowski. Lewis Kemp, I like the kid. He's a generational talent. He's definitely talented. He can get it done. He's put in the work for sure. Talking about Ty Gibbs. I swear imagine if Cole wins Watkins Glen. Yeah, if Cole Custer wins Watkins Glen, that's definitely going to set the world on fire. Twitter would be ablaze. They would have to take back a lot of their Cole Custer hate. Bumblebee said, "I'm going to head out. I got chicken and dumplings ready." Oh, that sounds good. Bumblebee. Ty is way more mature than he is big, said Caltiki. Yeah, Ty Gibbs he's a small guy. My mower cuts the grass. I just stare, said Mark Wachowski. One day they'll get them things driving themselves, and you can just ride and have a cold beverage on there with you. Peace out, epileptic Bumblebee. That is what I thought, RJ, but I had to look it up first before I potentially ate my foot, said Charlotte Ander. Yeah, I totally forgot about JJ Yaley. I just wasn't thinking. I'm just so used to Kyle Busch being in that 18, and that's what I was talking about earlier with the recognition, brand recognition, sponsor recognition. They need to start pushing that again. So you immediately, when you think of a driver, you think of a sponsor and a number. Rich, Vidalia, Georgia, said Bumblebee. That's where she's at. Smith City, Alabama. What's up, Georgia and Alabama? Good to see y'all on here. Tiki, Kyle at that age. Yeah. You can't leave out Michael McDowell in the next 2 races. Yeah, he's qualified 3rd. Before the first live stream went out, Greg Brown. Yeah, we were talking about Michael McDowell could definitely get it done. Rich L, he's way out there in Colorado. And with that, guys, I am going to sign out. My voice is getting rough. I'm yet holding on, though. All right. I appreciate all you guys for hanging out and checking me out. And thanks for your time. Peace.